I'm Beth Sewald with the Vegas Chamber. Welcome to this edition of Taking Care of Business. Last month, we had the opportunity to take a record number of Nevadans to our nation's capital on the Vegas Chamber's Washington, D.C. fly-in. We had the opportunity to sit down with all of our Nevada delegation, and here are some excerpts of what they had to say. Welcome to Washington, D.C., the heartbeat of our nation. This year, the Vegas Chamber's Washington, D.C. fly-in brought a record-breaking more than 300 Nevadans to our nation's capital, all getting plugged in to amplify Nevada's voice like never before. Over the past week, we've plugged into every core of our nation's decision-making, not just witnessing, but actively shaping the future for our beloved state. We've tackled the issues that matter most to our businesses and communities back home. Our strengthened bond with the Nevada Delegation ensures that our priorities echo through the halls of Congress. We've forged new friendships and created lasting memories. Being here, united with one collective voice, we've ensured that the pulse and priorities of Nevada are not just heard, but felt in Washington, D.C. Thank you for being part of this monumental journey. Together, we're not just taking care of business, we're elevating Nevada's future. And I'm very honored to be at our nation's capital with the Vegas Chamber, and we are here today with our Secretary of State, Cisco Aguilar. Cisco, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Mary Beth, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You know, we've got 300 of our closest friends from Nevada here in Washington, D.C., and they just heard a very impassioned I don't want to call it a speech, but your remarks to them about the security of Nevada's election and voter system. So talk to us about that.
Look, Nevada runs some of the safest, most secure and accessible elections in the country. We are investing heavily to ensure that we are building the best systems we can have statewide. We just completed our implementation of VREMS, the Voter Registration Election Management System, which is going to help unify the entire state and also bring transparency to the process for the voters.
You also talked about poll workers, the importance of poll workers, and you're asking for people to volunteer for that job.
Yes, I say this all the time. Without poll workers and election workers, we don't get to have our fundamental right to vote. They are critical to the process. We need them. They are the unsung heroes of our democracy. So when you see a poll worker, please thank them for their service because they're really doing it because they love our country, they love our community, and they want to ensure everybody has the opportunity to have a voice.
Yeah, and it's kind of a thankless job, but I think it's one of the most important things that we could do, our civic duty.
Correct.
Really, especially here in Nevada. So you're saying that Nevadans should feel very confident that their votes are going to be counted correctly.
Absolutely. We've been training for this moment for 18 months since I've taken office to ensure every county across our state, from the rural counties to our urban core, are prepared and ready to deal with the participation rate that we're going to have in this general election for the presidential.
And compared to other states, I'm sure you've done your research, you know everything there is to know about all the other states and how we stack up. How would you assess the effectiveness of the security measures that you're taking?
Absolutely, and that goes back to our new system, VREMS, and Voter Registration Election Management System. Oregon's been working for 3 years to implement the system.
That's what they have?
They're on it, and they're working towards it. We actually did it in 14 months. So we have state-of-the-art technology in Nevada to help manage the election, to manage our voter rolls. And beyond that, we're working to build the cybersecurity around that system even more. We know Nevada's a battleground state. We know people are going to have great interest in the outcome of the election in our state, and we need to ensure that the voters can be confident that their vote is actually going to count and it is going to matter. Their vote does matter than most states.
It does matter. It's so critically important, especially here in Nevada as a swing state. And you were talking about implementing VREMs, and that prior to that, we had 17 different systems throughout Nevada. How on earth did that work?
Well, and that was because that was a bottom-up voter registration process. We implemented the top-down voter registration with the new system. The 17 counties were all supported by different vendors. Some of the counties had systems that the vendor no longer even exists. So when you talk about cybersecurity, there were major efforts we needed to make quickly to ensure every county was protected in Nevada.
And you feel confident that all that is all squared away and that we're safe?
I'm confident, but we need to keep doing more. We need to be prepared. We need to keep the conversation going. And this is not something that's just happening in my office. This is an initiative that involves all of government. I'm grateful for the governor and Chief of Staff Cherry for the support that they've given the project, but also being there to help us make some of the critical decisions we've had to make throughout the process.
And talk to us a little bit about accessibility. Folks with disabilities, who can vote and so forth.
Absolutely, and that's a great thing about Nevada. Yes, we have some of the safest, most secure elections, but we're also accessible. You don't have to give up safety and security to be accessible. You know, we have 2 weeks of early voting. Every eligible voter in Nevada gets a mail ballot. We have our e-system, which is the digital mobile process. Any Nevadan overseas can use the e-system to participate in the election. We also expanded it to tribal members living on a reservation, but the group that's really found it the most useful are disabled individuals who are homebound. This really allows them to take the time to participate, but also do it in a way that they're able to do it.
And that'll be especially effective in the rurals.
Absolutely, especially when you look at the adoption rates of the mail program. The adoption rate is pretty high. Nye County has the highest adoption rate of mail ballots. And I think because they understand that it takes time to participate in our democracy, but also they can do it on their terms when they are comfortable.
So let's go back to poll workers for a second.
Yes.
I know you're really looking to recruit volunteers. What are we doing to make sure that the poll workers are going to be safe?
What we're doing is, it started 18 months ago with the legislature. We proposed legislation, SB 406, that makes it a felony to harass or intimidate election workers and poll workers. That is building a safe environment for anybody that is there at a polling location or in the election center where the ballot process is taking place. VREM's, the new system, also has a direct communication piece that if a poll worker feels uncomfortable at any moment, rather than raising their hand or making an issue, escalating it, they can send a message to their manager or to the election center, say, we have a situation, I need some help. We get that message and we can deal with it without escalating it to anything that would occur.
Excellent. The system is great.
I love it. It's, and the good thing about the system, it's been already used in Clark County. So the poll workers in Clark County have seen it. They know the difference of what this system makes. It's easier on the voter, it's easier on the poll worker, but it is still safe and secure.
And does VREMs also impact the timeliness of getting the results?
It does, and this is the way it does, is build efficiencies into the process so the clerks in their local county can focus on processing ballots rather than the administrative responsibilities that they had to focus on before. This system allows me to have a statewide dashboard that I can dig down into the actual precinct, and I can look at voter trends. I can see who's voting by mail, who's voting in person. We can send extra support if there's a polling location that needs that extra support. So it helps us plan better and build efficiencies into the process so the clerks can really focus on processing ballots to be able to get results out to Nevadans.
So what time frame do you expect it'll, how long is it going to take to get the
Well,
results?
I'd say during the June primary where we tested the system and we built a new process that the clerks had to learn. We had results out within 10 minutes after the last voter. So I think it was 8:04 on primary night. This is going to be a different turnout model, but we are still preparing to hopefully be able to do something similar.
Boy, Mr. Secretary, I'm going to be watching on election night, not only for the who wins the election and the outcome, but also how Nevada does.
Right. Look, and that's my goal. Look, we are at a disadvantage in the country because we're in the Pacific time zone. We are a battleground state. We matter to the rest of the country, and people have to sit there for a significant amount of time until it's time that we need to give our voters the opportunity to vote.
No pressure.
My goal is for nobody to know who I am after this election cycle.
That's
my goal.
That is a great goal. No hanging chads in Nevada.
Results are out. People can make the decisions they need to make with the data that's there. And so we'll do two major releases. One is the early vote, early mail, ballots processed up until 6 p.m. on election day. And then we'll do another release later that evening of everybody who voted in person throughout Nevada.
All right. Well, great work,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Secretary. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Secretary of State Cisco Aguilar, thank you for your service to the state of Nevada, and we're wishing you all the best of luck.
Thank you to you and your colleagues.
Thank
Glad
you.
to be here.
Thank you.
As humans, we're visual creatures. In fact, American adults spend nearly 6 hours each day watching video, and we're evolving and expanding across screens. Whether we're surfing the web at work, streaming our favorite show in a waiting room, or watching the game live at home, Cox Media's digital video solutions can deliver your business's message to consumers in a way that creates a meaningful connection and drives them to take action. Grow your business. Call Cox Media today.
Welcome to Las Vegas. It's not just a destination, it's a thriving economic force. Our city has become a beacon of growth, innovation, and endless possibilities from international sports, entertainment, technology, hospitality, to healthcare. This city is on the rise. Join us at the Las Vegas Convention Center South Hall on January 16th. The Vegas Chamber invites you to preview Las Vegas 2025. Hear from a dynamic lineup of speakers and leaders from around the globe. Gain critical information and strategies to pave the way for 2025 and beyond. The Vegas Chamber invites you to preview Las Vegas 2025. Stay tuned for more information at vegaschamber.com.
I'm Mary Beth Sewald, President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber, and I am proud and honored today to be in our nation's capital with Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Well, always, listen, thank you. This is great to always have Nevada, particularly the Chamber here, representing so many incredible businesses in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, lots of friendly faces for you, lots of familiar faces. We have more than 300 Nevadans on our delegation this year. It's the largest trip in the history of the Chamber.
Wonderful. That's great. And I've seen some of them. They've come into my office, believe me, as they've been here for the week. We've had great conversations.
Good. It's really a great way for, and it's a testament to the fact that Nevadans really understand how important it is that we have a unified voice.
Mm-hmm. And we do. And you see it. I mean, I think every year you come, either you're meeting with the entire delegation, or the entire delegation is here, coming to the businesses here and talking with everyone. It just shows you the benefit that we have in Nevada of the entire delegation working together. Mm-hmm. We all like one another. We work together to get things done on behalf of Nevada. That is not true for other states. But for Nevada, it's a good thing.
And, you know, on that note, too, we're so appreciative of how accessible you always are. You were mentioning that people came to your office and things like that. And you're such an advocate for the business community and for the whole state, and you're always available.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, a lot of the work that we do in my office comes from these conversations. And that's why it's important for me to be a part of them, whether I'm here or home. And also for my staff. I've got an incredible team around me. They're much smarter than I am, and they care. And that's why they're on the panels today, and they've been engaged. They're traveling throughout Nevada, talking with our businesses and figuring out what we still need to do here in Washington that can benefit so many of our small businesses.
Well, and so what are some of your most important and pressing priorities that you have going for policy?
Yeah, I can tell you, going into the next Congress and what we're working on now, one thing I hear from so many of our businesses, including those that want to come to Nevada, is a housing issue, right? Affordable housing. We need more housing. We have to build more housing. I sit on the Banking and Housing Committee. This has been an issue I've been coordinating with the Housing Coalition statewide in Nevada. What's the federal role here, and how we incentivize and build more affordable housing? So there's bipartisan legislation, believe it or not, bipartisan legislation. I love to say that, because coming out of the Banking Committee as well as Senate Finance to really incentivize more housing, but also help homeowners, whether getting into a new home or help with rent. And those are pieces of legislation that I have introduced in a bipartisan way. There's other pieces that we need that I'm hoping we get passed, but they've already had some hearings in the committees. We just got to get them on the floor of the Senate and move them. Affordable housing is one of them. The other particularly as I sit on Senate Finance, for me, is healthcare. The other thing I hear from our businesses, right, is you want to relocate to Nevada, do you have good healthcare for me, my family, right? And so part of this is ensuring that in Nevada, we are shoring up those gaps in healthcare, and it's for your physical care and your mental health care. Senate Finance working on issues right now addressing those. One of the key areas, and I just heard it walking in here, was that we need more GME slots, because we know if we have more graduate medical education slots in Nevada, those residents, those fellows will stay in Nevada. We'll keep those doctors in Nevada. So again, I'm working on a bipartisan piece of legislation. Bill Cassidy from Louisiana is my colleague on this, and by the way, he's a doctor, and we're figuring out how we can come together to create more of those GME slots and bring them to states like his, Louisiana, like Nevada, where we don't have enough of them, and how we address also the needs in our rural communities to bring more healthcare into our rural communities. So that's bipartisan work it's a working group right now that I'm very proud of that we're working on. And then finally, I'm going to talk about, you'll hear the Clark County Lands Bill.
Yep.
It's a key part of all of this, right? Making sure that we can grow our disposal boundaries so we can engage in more economic development for our businesses, but housing, affordable housing is a key piece of all of that. We can do all of that and still protect our great outdoors and our environment, so there's this balance between the two. You're going to hear me talk a little bit about the Clark County Lands Bill. It's finally in a position, fingers crossed, it is going to be going to Energy and Natural Resources Committee that I sit on next week for a markup.
Oh,
Just
congratulations.
finally move it out of committee and get it to the next
That's a lot of
step.
progress.
Knowing how many stakeholders there, and it's been this kind of working group and collaboration of everybody that is involved in this issue to really come to the table. So we're at this juncture now, so fingers crossed for next week.
You know, you mentioned the word bipartisan a lot, and I want to congratulate you. You must be one of the most bipartisan legislators that we have on the federal level, because you hear so many stories about how hard it is to reach across the aisle, but you do it all the time.
I think it's necessary. You know, I find, and I don't think I know, Jackie Rosen feels the same way. Listen, if we're having issues in Nevada, that we can have a positive impact on at a federal level, I know my colleagues are having it in their state. So it's just a matter of going to talk to them and engaging and say, hey, I'm looking to work on this issue. Would you be interested? Or hearing from them. And then that builds that kind of bipartisan starting group to then focus on this legislation. I will say there's more bipartisan legislation that has happened and passed in the Senate than you hear on national news, or that most people even hear about. That's why I like to go home and talk about it, because I think it helps people understand and give them hope that we're still trying to solve the problems that so many of our small businesses and our families are dealing with today.
Well, and thank you for being so bipartisan and doing so much for Nevada. But I have to congratulate you on an amazing award that you are about to receive. And by the time this airs, you will have received it, the Edward R. Roybal Legacy Award. Congratulations on that, and we're so proud of you.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you. To me, this is a continuation of this idea, and I truly believe in it. I got it from my father and my parents, but elected service, whether it's government service or you're elected official or you're involved in the community, it's community service. That's what I do, is community service.
It's in your blood.
It is in my blood, but it's noble. And I think that, no matter what you do, if you're involved in the community, and you don't have to be an elected official to do so, if you're involved in the community and trying to solve problems, that really is a good part of lifting up everybody in the community.
And you really care.
I do. And I love the state. I just came back from my August work session at home and traveled throughout the state, and there's so much happening. It's exciting. People don't even know. I was in Eureka. There's a lot of small business things happening on Main Street in Eureka, Nevada. And it's just fun to see and be a part of it and bring home additional resources and support at a federal level into Nevada.
Well, Senator, thank you so much for all you do for all of us in Nevada. We appreciate your leadership and your relentless service to our state.
Well, thank you. It's always great to partner with the Chamber. So thank you for all your good work.
All right. Thank you very much.
As humans, we're visual creatures. In fact, American adults spend nearly 6 hours each day watching video, and we're evolving and expanding across screens. Whether we're surfing the web at work, streaming our favorite show in a waiting room, or watching the game live at home, Cox Media's digital video solutions can deliver your business's message to consumers in a way that creates a meaningful connection and drives them to take action. Grow your business. Call Cox Media today.
Welcome to Las Vegas. It's not just a destination, it's a thriving economic force. Our city has become a beacon of growth, innovation, and endless possibilities from international sports, entertainment, technology, hospitality, to healthcare. This city is on the rise. Join us at the Las Vegas Convention Center South Hall on January 16th. The Vegas Chamber invites you to preview Las Vegas 2025. Hear from a dynamic lineup of speakers and leaders from around the globe. Gain critical information and strategies to pave the way for 2025 and beyond. The Vegas Chamber invites you to preview Las Vegas 2025. Stay tuned for more information at vegaschamber.com.
We are here at our nation's capital, and I'm so honored and pleased today to be with Congressman Mark Amodei. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for the invite, Mary Beth.
You know, we're here in Washington, D.C. with 300 of our closest friends from the state of Nevada, and you just got to address almost all of them. Talk to us a little bit about a couple of the top priorities that you discussed with them.
Well, no matter where you are in Nevada, lands bills are always a big deal. Public safety issues are a big deal. You know, unfortunately, the reality of business these days, whether you're the MGM or a small trucking company in Battle Mountain, cybersecurity is a big deal. So we've been able from the new position to make sure we bring all the cybersecurity experts from the CISA agency to Las Vegas a few months ago. We're going to be doing the same thing with FEMA in terms of public safety, hazmat, you know, with some of the stuff that's involved with electric car batteries when they catch on fire and things like that. So we've got TSA is in our budget. So Harry Reid Airport has never been in a better position to make sure that they're on the top part of the radar screen for TSA, just in terms of their procedures, their equipment, all of that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's one of those things when you're handed the ball, you just take it and run as fast as you can, as far as you can.
Yeah, and I know Congressman Porter talked about your position as Cardinal, and congratulations again on that. How does that impact us back home in Nevada?
You know, I didn't really know it until I'd become one, but you're now one of those 12 seats that has phenomenal influence over that discretionary part of the budget. The non-discretionary part is most of the federal budget: Social Security, Medicare, interest on the debt, that sort of thing. But the 25% that we fight over is you're at the table, and what it does is not only on the committee that I have specific jurisdiction over, but it also puts you in a position to go to people on the other committees and say, hey, I need some help on this, whether it's military construction, whether it's VA, whether it's whatever. And when you're one of those folks, they're thinking the same thing, which is I need some help with the border, I need some help with customs, I need some help with, you know, whatever. And so it just gives you a phenomenal position to be able to interact with other decision makers to get the right thing done.
And on that note, what are some of the things that you've been able to leverage through that position to get some things over the finish line for us back home?
Well, what we're doing now is we're making sure that both of our major airports, Harry Reid and Reno, have got the best that's available with TSA for screening, to make sure those screening times, whether you're a pre-check person or not, those things are going quick to where they've set their thing like, you know, 90 seconds a person. We want that down to a minute a person. Either decide to send them, you know, for more screening or get them through while maintaining that safety margin. We've also been able to basically, through the Coast Guard, believe it or not, because there are a lot of people in defense that are interested in what happens with the Coast Guard. We have the Coast Guard say that's fine, but guess what? That Guard unit in the north, they need C-130J models. Or I'm afraid that their flying mission is going to go away. May not go away next year, but it will. So we've been able to make big strides with that because the Coast Guard's a C-130J customer. Other parts of the military are that. So it's put us in a new position to go, hey, here's what we need to happen here. And so we're looking for good things for that unit, as well as the other military stuff. We've been in a position to solve a big problem for Nellis with emitters for their training range so that their warfighters can train more realistically, able to get that through. And that takes a little bit of a challenge because you talk about SNPLMA and lands bills, and you've got some Desert National Wildlife Refuge issues there. So we were able to go in there, be focused on a solution. They got their emitter pads. And
Oh, congratulations.
we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing by the resource too.
That sounds like a lot of great leverage, a lot of great progress in at least two very important areas.
Yeah.
Speaking of lands, you bring that up. I know that's been something you've been working on for quite a while. Where do we stand with our lands? Because we look at economic development. We know that economic development is important. We need to diversify. We hear those conversations all the time. But we are very landlocked, so to speak, with the BLM having so much of our land in Nevada.
You know, I think it's an advantage having grown up in Nevada with that, to where you just kind of assimilate an understanding of, and you did a good job of stating it, you're landlocked. If you want to do anything economic development, resource concentrated, anything, you have to go through the lands bill process. And that's all of Nevada. So having some pretty fair familiarity with that, and then knowing that that's a priority regardless of what your community is, from the biggest to the smallest, has allowed us to bring a focus to that every day, regardless of what zip code you're in. And so, you know, it's just something where it's like you can never say mission accomplished. There's always more to do. There's always the next one. Put that one to bed. Okay, move on to the next one. And that's just the reality of Nevada. But in order to do that effectively, you need to A, know the system, and B, know the process, and C, be in a position to influence that so you can get your stuff done.
Speaking of knowing the system, you've been at this for a while now, and as we discussed in the room there, you are among the top leaders now with all of your experience and your time spent, and you're able to influence a lot of big decisions.
You know, the approach that we take to that, thank you for that, Mary Beth, but the approach that we take is treat everybody with respect, including those that you disagree with. And because you do that, no matter what issue comes up, you're not going, oh God, I wish I'd have been nicer to her. Last week I told her, you know, to kiss old Rose or something like that. And so I think that served us well to where we have been seen as thoughtful problem solvers. You know, I mean, my voting record is what it is, but it's based on thought, facts, and whatever. And so it's put us in a good position, I think, to be pretty effective.
Well, Congressman Mark Amodei, thank you so much. You've been a great ambassador and servant to the state of Nevada, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you for the invite, Mary Beth.
Okay. Thanks for watching this edition of Taking Care of Business. We'll see you next time.